Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. It is I, Jesse Milestone, coming to you on this Friday with both good news and bad news.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
Where people were just walking around, just jizzing force all over the place. He looks like he has been drinking soy from his mother's teat. Wrap yourselves in, guys, because we are gonna get mean!
I got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky!
Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. My name is Jesse Milestone. It is Wednesday. It is the Matriarchy. I am your God Empress, fearless leader of the Mindless Mob. And with me today, an unusual but very special co-host, Jedi Bunny, aka Kelly. Welcome.
Hey guys. Hi, Jesse.
Hello.
I have a bubble in my throat. Hi, guys. Hi, Jesse.
Hello. Oh, and look, we have that Star Wars girl. She's at the airport. Obviously, you're used to seeing her right here next to me as the Matriarchy's other co-host. But when we can't have her because she's busy flying to Texas to be on important people's podcast, and it was on You Are Here last night. If you guys didn't get a chance to check that out, you totally should. I was in the airport yesterday, so I did see that she was live. I did not get to check it out live yet. But yeah, you should all go check that out. It's awesome. And obviously, we'll be back on Anna's channel next week. But Kelly, what's good? What's new?
Oh, just life, just getting older, as we were talking about backstage, dealing with physical pain, a little more.
Pains.
A little old pain, little old me.
My body's breaking down and there's nothing I can do.
Need to make some magic spells and concoctions up and just get rid of this stuff. That's not how it works, unfortunately.
I got a book recently on Bohemian witchcraft. So if you want to take it was weird. It was really weird. I was in Target. I was in Target and we were just on the road actually. And this book was just staring at me. It said Bohemian witchcraft. And I'm like, that's weird. So I picked it up just for funsies. I was like, what's Bohemian witchcraft? I know witchcraft. What's Bohemian witchcraft? So I started flipping through. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's a little it's like a little, like a little bit gypsy, a little hippy dippy, a little, okay, this is kind of, okay, I get it. I feel this. And then I'm turning the pages and trying to be the animals that are special to this woman and her family and blah. And all of a sudden there's her grandma in a picture and fucking Pancakes face in her arms. And this little kitten looks just spitting image of Pancake staring back at me. And I'm like, well, goddamn. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe I should buy this book. So it's on super sale for not a lot of money. I'm like, what the hell? I'll buy it. I'll read it. So I did. And I'm flipping through it in the car. And all of a sudden I see the writer. She's like, oh, when I moved to my first apartment in New York on Bleecker Street. Bleecker Street has a song written about it. The very one in New York by Simon and Garfunkel. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. Also, the song, Pancake has this obsession with secret treats, and this is one of his secret treat song when he wants his secret treats. It's the tune of Bleecker Street. So I read that line, and I'm like, well, shit, I guess I really was supposed to buy this book, and maybe I will use it to, I don't know. I assume that the best use of this book is probably learning to communicate with my cat with it.
Sounds like it. I mean, all signs point to cat communication.
I feel it. I also was reading through it, and then I'm also reading this 48 Laws of Power fun read at the same time, and I'm like, this feels like the balance of me. The one side is the hippy dippy earth magic, feeling good, get all your energy aligned and all this shit, and then the other side is learn how to control and manipulate literally everyone around you to get what you want from them. Yeah, these are the two halves of me. This is perfect.
You're going to have unmatchable power by the end of the year when you're done with these, or however long it takes you, a week, maybe, if you're a fast. No one will be able to fuck with you, Jesse.
Exactly. I will be unfuckwithable. So since I am spoiling the entire plot of the Batman today, I thought it would only be appropriate if I pull out some dark colors, some Batman-y colors. Here we go. Here's a black.
Yes, please.
Here's black. Ooh, where's my... I'll do some real edgy looking edges. It'll be exciting. It'll just be black and really, really dark gray. Because as we learned from the Lego movie, those are the only two acceptable colors for the Batman to work with.
I'm reading the chat, guys, so you know. I'm looking at you. Watching
we
you guys
see you, bitches.
on my phone.
We see you. Oh, Holocron Library Fox, thank you for posting the You Are Here with that Star Wars girl and Chrissy Mayer. Yeah, Chrissy Mayer was also
Holocron Library Fox is awesome. Everybody, I think I recognize most people in here, and I'm very happy to see them.
I'm very happy to see you all too.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice.
Good
It's
peeps.
always nice. Kelly is watching the Physics Channel with Kenny Lee. That sounds like science. I like science.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. He has, I think, yes, I love that YouTube restored the feature where you can click on people's names when you're in a live stream. Like,
Oh, thank goodness. You
remember
can
they
actually.
took it away? I think they took it away because of all those porn bots that were coming up, but now that's back. So you can click on their names, and now I'm on, where'd it go? Hang on. I'm on the physics channel with Kenny Lee. I'm on his channel, and he has physics videos. He just came
Oh.
up with one on convex lens ray diagrams. How cool is that?
I love it. I love it.
Yes, all
Learning.
physics videos. Very cool.
Hey, Michelle O'Rourke. It's good to see you. Hey, Doug 209. Optic Racer 21. Greg Kirby. We already said the Physics Channel with Kenny Lee. I love that there are people out there doing science stuff. Holocron Library Fox. Greg Kirby. Roland Gonzalez and more. Thank you guys for joining. Yeah, no, it is nice when they put back. It's also stupid when they take features away because they're like, people are like for dumb reasons. We're like, we'll take away this good feature that's useful for so many other people because one party is abusing it. Funnily enough, not to get too super political, but that kind of just happened, I guess, today in this big spending bill that got passed. They actually within that brought back one really interesting thing that I didn't really know about. I didn't know it had actually gone away. I didn't know too much about this whole situation in the first place, which is earmarks, and which were a problem. They were a problem at one point, I guess, where it was like basically everyone was getting these special interest packages. So it's like, this bill includes, X number of dollars for this senator for his state for special interest blah blahs, and there was no, and so you were getting ridiculous amounts of money funneling these projects that were getting wasted and not used correctly. And so John McCain ran on that platform to get rid of that, and was able to, and even though he himself didn't win, somebody took it up. Somebody in the Republican caucus took it up as their, it had been championing that point for a long time. And so used the momentum that they got from McCain to do away with it. And so that was, seen as this great victory, to get rid of a lot of this wasteful spending in Congress. And it did. But then it also got rid of Congress's only way really to leverage or to incentivize its wayward members to fall in line, which is why you then have what we have now, which is, so funnily enough, there's actually an interesting thing that happened was you had then like the Freedom Caucus, right? Which is a faction of the Republican Party now that famously is not beholden to any leadership within the Republican Party. They have their own set of beliefs and goals, and they operate, they try to get that legislature passed and people instated who support that legislature. And it does not matter. They are not loyal to anyone, any leaders in the Republican Party. They're only loyal to their agenda, which is great for them. But it kind of sucks because they then were responsible for ousting the very person who got rid of earmarks in the first place. So it's like, your own little brainchild came back to bite you in the ass. So that's why you have right now, then you have, on the right, you have that, on the left, you have the AOCs and the junior league who, say, we don't care, who will fight, progressives within their own party as if they're conservative Nazis, the same exact way, because they're not left enough, because there is literally no incentive. There's no way to incentivize or then de-incentivize special interest projects for these senators and representatives and Congress people, whereas if they can then get spending for their special interest projects, if they manage to make the projects work, come to fruition, that can be a great feather in their cap for re-election. And if they don't, that can be a dig against them. Mm-hmm. So it's back, which is exciting. But then it's also like, it is back, but without any way to fix or curb the reason why it broke in the first place. So it's like a little bit, yay, a little bit, It's like, okay, well, that's good. That's really good, because maybe now we'll actually get more legislation passed. Because basically when you have the situation where it's like there's bipartisan legislature coming up, Republicans are down, Democrats are down, but one little outlying faction is causing a stink and is not going to let it get passed. Great. Now we can have a reason. Now we have a way to incentivize those people to shut the fuck up, move the shit through. So things with bipartisan support will actually get done. We can basically stop this nonsense of giving one party the power to basically just say no and be obstructionist over everything. Hooray. But how do we stop ourselves from falling right back into the trap of all of this wasteful, frivolous, special interest spending? So, did we take
I love it. Politics lesson with Jesse.
Do we take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, or 1 step forward and 2 steps back? I don't know.
It's interesting. It'll be interesting to watch.
It will be. It will be very interesting. I do think, and I think that it's going to. I think it's something that's been. You have an administration that for however you do or don't like them, has made bipartisan work and unity a forefront of their stated policy. Right, and that's what I don't think you can disagree with that statement, no matter how you feel about the administration, right? And that's neither here nor there. Approval ratings speak for themselves. Most people do not think he's doing a very good job, but certainly you can see it is clear, and in some of the actions, it has been stated that being bipartisan and having unity is one of their goals. Whatchamacallit. I think that the people who actually have that in mind are leveraging the unity we are getting from the issue overseas, the war in Russia and Ukraine now. And there are a lot of people, I think, in politics right now that are seizing an opportunity to kind of go back to not necessarily again, is it 2 steps forwards and 1 step back, or 1 step forwards and 2 steps back? Not necessarily the way things were before, but to regain some of the normalcy that allowed our political systems to actually work, while maybe taking some of the lessons that we got from these past couple decades of upheaval. So, yeah. Greg Kirby, banning Russian things is not stupid. Banning Russian things at this time is the only way we actually have to put leverage on a country that is purely evil. But that's just me. Yeah. So anyways, Anna Herzog. That's that. That's the world. The Batman is what we're actually here to talk about today. And I will need to go through, even though I'm the one who's seen it, I'll be spoiling it for Kelly and then getting her take on it. I am going to need a little bit of refresher because I saw it on Friday. Yeah, that's not that long ago. I saw it last Friday. It's like a couple days ago. And then since that Friday, I worked the next 3 days of a national tournament for fencing. And it's our youth one, which is considered a developmental event for the children. For a lot of them, it's their very first time coming to a national event. For many of them, it's an even bigger step forwards because COVID canceled a lot of our regional things. So even fencers who are, kind of ready to be there in their fencing haven't had the opportunity to experience the gigantic convention center, the chaos that is, a gajillion strips in one place and trying to figure out where exactly you're supposed to go and what exactly you're supposed to do. I had to be a bad guy a couple times on behalf of my referees, who probably should have, taken different measures to try to find the fencers that they were looking for. Lando, what? Hi. What? Yes, I see you. Hi. What do you want? I don't know what you want, Lando. Lando just hopped up behind my chair and was like, meow, I need you. Hi. I don't know what I've done. Yeah, anyway, chaos ensued for several days, and I was the person with whom the chaos stopped in many of those instances. And so it was fun. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. So the way the national events work from the refereeing perspective is we have a coordinator who kind of runs the operations each day. And make sure referees are assigned where they're going to go. Like on any given day, we have multiple weapons fencing multiple events. So if a tournament has, let's say, Y14, which means 14 and under, that means there are 6 events in Y14 because we have 3 weapons, saber, epee, and foil, and 2 genders. So we will have men's and women's Y14 in all 3 weapons. Lando, if you pee in Jeff's shoes, I will come kill you. I just Oh, hi Nova.
She just woke herself up.
I wonder if she heard Lando meowing.
Maybe.
Did you hear Lando?
Hmm.
Oh, Lando, what are you doing, you little slinky cat? You slinking around, looking suspicious, looking heavily suspicious, Lando. Good. So, oh, kitty, precious.
Oh, baby Outlaw's here. Yes.
Hey, Sweet Pea! Oh, Andy is here too.
Pea. I must always call her Sweet Pea. I just saw that there's a new Alien movie coming out, and it's going to be back in the horror genre again, which I'm very excited about.
Really? I still never saw Covenant.
And it is not Ridley Scott directing it, but he's producing it. The guy that's directing it is the guy that did Don't Breathe and the remake of Night of the Living Dead. Was it Night of the Living Dead?
Okay.
So he's a horror guy. So I'm intrigued. I know you. Okay. So I'm one of those weirdos that actually like. I don't want to admit that I liked Covenant and Prometheus because I don't think they're good movies, but I enjoyed them.
I still haven't seen Covenant. I've heard a lot of people really did like it actually though.
I kind of I like the world building. Like I just think Ridley Scott is an amazing world builder and I love the like creepy Lovecraftian feel to it. And so I wanted to get your take on it and also Sweet Pea's take on it because I know she's a fan of Alien.
Oh yeah. Very, very much. That sounds exciting because I do agree that like I enjoy a lot of things about Prometheus, even though I cannot acknowledge it as a good movie. Yeah. Like I can't. It's functionally not a good movie. No. Even though I like it. This was actually, by the way, this was when I like knew that I could write off any of my ex's opinions on movies when he was like, no, Prometheus is great. It's an amazing movie. And I'm like, but it's not though. Like I like it, but I can still acknowledge that it's not good. And he's like, no, exactly. It's really good. And I'm
we
like,
need to be able to say that we can like things, but have the humility to say when they're just not good and still be able to like have enough of a, like our ego in check to be able to say that just because we like something does not mean it's objectively good.
Exactly. I think the Batman's a great example of that. Like Jeff liked it better than I did. I enjoyed parts of it, but I have so many issues that again, that stop it from being an objectively good movie. I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as Jeff did though, but I think even Jeff came to that place where it's like, that's a movie where he enjoyed a lot of things about, but does not think is good. But we'll dive into that. As far as so Alien, so I like this. I like horror director. I like Ridley Scott being involved.
Greg Kirby said Kelly's cat keeps mooning. Greg Kirby is the funniest comments. I'm sorry.
I do enjoy them. I do enjoy them. Funny you brought this up too.
It's because I'm reading the chat and they're cracking me up.
The chat is always on point.
They're funny. And they like I'm trying to keep a straight face, but they make me laugh.
They make it impossible. They make it impossible. They do.
They do. They make it hard.
It's too fun. Too fun up in here. Good. Oh, Liver's here. Great. Liver cirrhosis is here. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying? Go ahead.
No, I was saying I am. I like this because so another example, like a filmmaker that gets a skeptical side eye from me now is what's his face? M. Night Shyamalan, deservedly so. Right. But Servant, the TV show.
Yes.
That's another instance where he has somebody directing it, but and he's producing. And so I think you're getting all of the best elements of an M. Night Shyamalan world with somebody else who's a little more interested in proving themselves, And so I think that you have an opportunity here with this same setup with an Alien kind of world to see that.
Yeah.
I think that Ridley Scott didn't explore enough. He was one of those guys who, like, when he got into producing, like, he produced other shit, and he never did the thing that some people do where they're like, I want to step back into the role of producing my kind of movie and my kind of world, but let someone else take the operational thing directing it. When he gets a movie that's like his kind of movie, his kind of world, he still wants to step in and direct it. And I think maybe he's at the point where he needs to take that extra step back, like almost to the point where, like, depending on how this goes, I'd almost be an advocate to say, okay, let's have him not direct Gladiator 2 if that does come to fruition.
Exactly. If you find the right person for your vision, I don't think there's any shame. And I think sometimes it's just like, I think it's hard for them to let go, especially because he's older, and I think he's taking on more projects now. I don't know if it's like a final bloom kind of thing for him, but
I get that feeling. Kind of a swan song, last hurrah.
I mean, he's one of the greats as far as I'm concerned. So
He's my all-time favorite.
Yeah, he's amazing. It's like I'm all for watching whatever he creates, but I also think at a certain point, like if it didn't work with Prometheus and Covenant, like critically speaking.
Yeah, I mean, he's undeniably lost a step in some of those ways. Like The Last Duel had all the earmarks of an old, Ridley Scott great, and he couldn't pull it off. So
I never saw it. You saw it?
I have not yet, but everything I've heard, I'm hoping to like it. But I mean, it's like even if I think he did it and think it's great, old Ridley Scott meant it meant an instant classic, and everybody, the critics to the audience, knew it, and that clearly was not the case with The Last Duel. So
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the chat, your super chat that just came.
Oh yeah, good old Russell. Russell likes to make sure we feel like Anna is here with us when she's not, and he thinks that this is the best version that he can bring to the table. I can draw and write my name. Sorry, I'm late. Had to poop. It was a lot. Thank you, Russell. I'm glad Anna's at the airport right now, and so it's good that you're with us because it's just not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same without Anna. Thank you for mocking her dyslexia with your spelling choices. And yeah, so yar. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna have to pull up in a second a little cheat sheet to get the plot of the Batman movie refreshed in my mind.
So I have not seen the Batman, as many of you have heard Jesse say. So Jesse, who directed this one? Because I'm not even aware of that much.
Matt Reeves. And it shows. So Matt Reeves, I think, has a very high ceiling as a director, but also is the kind of person who has gotten the kind of praise that is now becoming very full of himself as a result, and that shows too. So he did the second two installments of that Planet of the Apes, the new trilogy one, and
with like John Lithgow and
Andy Serkis as the chimp.
Okay.
And so I actually saw those were the two that I did see. I actually did not see the first one with James Franco, but I did see the other two.
That's the one I was thinking of. Okay, that's
so he did the two after that.
Okay.
And the one was actually, like, I thought not bad for what it was. Recontextualizing it as the middle part of a trilogy, it actually even makes more sense. And I'm like, it was fine. It was like a fine generic action movie. And then the third one was a surprisingly highbrow Exodus allegory. With Woody Harrelson as like a very twisted bad guy. And it was surprisingly good. And I mean, again, you're talking about a franchise that starts with one of the headiest bits of sci-fi, one of the biggest mega reveals in all of sci-fi, which also then recontextualizes this whole movie on this very deep meta, oh my God, what is society level. But everything since then has been sort of just action sci-fi trash. And so to go step in after in your second try, even getting it right and getting to that level and reclaiming something that the genre really hadn't been able to do since its first iteration is really impressive. I think it's a big nod and a huge accolade to say that, you're able to pull that off. Now, that said, I don't think he showed any of those skills in the way that maybe not any is not quite fair. Technically, this movie is beautiful. It doesn't look like it's a $200 million movie, which is sort of a problem because it is. It is a $200 million movie that looks like it should have been made on about a quarter of that budget. And you're talking about Batman Begins was made on about a quarter of this budget, and it looks more impressive. I think Batman Begins looks like a more expensive movie than this movie does. This movie, It's like, why would you? This movie has that feeling of like, the kids who want to spend $400 to make their wardrobe look like they stole it off a dead hobo.
Yeah.
This movie has that feeling. It's like I can tell where you put the money in to make it look like this, but also why, because you could have made it look like this with an iota of the money. So I don't understand. That's that. The pluses I can sum up in very, very quickly are, and this is something where Jeff and I have both said dead ass wrong. All of the things we were worried about because of all the spec shots that came out, all the still images and whatnot of how shitty the Batman costume looked, all of those things were corrected on screen or fixed in post. Whatever it was with the angles they shot it at, the way it was lit, the way it was cut, any corrections made, in the post-production, that was a great looking Batman. Looked cool as shit, fit the world. I think a lot of it was lighting, honestly. I think a lot of the production stills we're seeing, are not in the light that you capture on the camera. I think this was a suit that lives and dies by the lighting. It's not a great looking costume. It's just not a great looking costume. So when it wasn't designed to be, it was designed to fit into a gritty, dark world where when you shot it in that light at those angles, it was going to look awesome. And it did. So I don't know if that makes sense. It's like movie magic, which is cool, which is how actually a nod to like, there's so many things about this movie like that. I'm like, that's a return to movie magic in a way. Oh, none of the production stills ever did it justice. It looks so much cooler on screen. Yeah, that's cool.
I love that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's nice.
The fucking Bat voice, it has been since Val Kilmer, since we had a Batman voice that isn't retarded. Because it was 3 movies. It was 3 movies of hockey pants, blah. Ben Affleck trying to replicate that stupid ass voice for some reason, even though I liked his Bruce Wayne, which is fine. And then before that, it was Clooney. So literally, it has been since Val Kilmer since we have had a Batman that sounds cool in the bat suit. And Pattinson fucking actually, in spite of the fact that I think he's a dweeb as Bruce Wayne and sucks and it cannot stand his American accent for shit, did a fucking solid bat voice.
Oh,
I really liked his bat voice.
Hey, okay.
Yeah. His Bruce Wayne voice sucks. It's, he has trouble staying in an American accent. And I've always felt that about Robert Pattinson when I've seen him do American accents. He has a lot of trouble staying in it. But that I thought was such a detriment to Twilight.
He'll always be Cedric Diggory to me. Even before Twilight, he's just Cedric Diggory.
But I thought his American accent was such a detriment to Twilight, because he's not doing full British. Like he's doing like, I'm an American, I'm like, you can't do an American accent. So you can't actually act your full range anyway, even if you had one back then, which you didn't.
I mean, I love the, I'm one of those people that thinks everything was a detriment to Twilight.
Yes. I mean, that's
Twilight.
Yes. Well, there you go. I can draw and write my name. It says it was Texas size. I assume you're referring to your poop.
Oh my gosh.
Andy says, thank you for the 0 to Andy. He says, Anna detained at JFK airport for carrying a rifle. Well, I know you're from the UK, but it would be JFK airport, as much as it sounds like it should be in Texas, is in New York. It's actually DFW. Dallas doesn't have a fun one. It's just Dallas Fort Worth Airport. DFW is where she'd be flying out. I flew through JFK actually going to Richmond though to do this tournament, where I get to be the boss of. Oh my god! So I have to tell you this one fun story. One fun story from this weekend, and we'll get into Batman because I want to do less time on plot, more time on analysis, and we're not going to do the world's longest show today, guys. Bye, Liver. Thank you for swinging through. And thank you for keeping me honest on all of our Discord things.
You had someone in here before that said that they were saying hello and they said they've been subscribed to you since 2017. Let me see if I can find it.
Shit.
Yeah, it was a nice comment. Ajay. This is from Sweden. Ajay from Sweden.
How far back was it?
Sub from Sweden 340.
Sub from Sweden. Sub of your channel since 2017, I believe. Nice. So yeah, you've been there since the explosion.
Very cool.
Welcome, Ajay. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm glad.
Yes. Nice. I probably butchered the pronunciation of that. I'm sorry.
I probably did too. That's all right. I pronounced a lot of names this weekend. I saw one that I just gave up on. Because like we get one like Lord Kipanitse. That's like, I'll type it in the chat for you guys. Because this name, when you see it, and someone's like, all right, how do you pronounce this? Yeah. because part of the job, right? We're in a convention center, hundreds of fencers. We got to shout
Oh.
these names off of paper. So you see that name, and someone's like, "All right, yeah, go shout that name." What the fuck do you say? You're like,
Wow.
what the hell is? Ha, Reese, shut up. This is my
What
first time
is
here. Reese, I love you. But yeah, that name. You look at it and you're like, "What is that? How do I do that?"
Nietzsche.
And then once you find out that it's Lord Kipanitse, you're like, "Oh yeah, that's literally the only logical way to pronounce that." Lord Kipanitse. Fine. Now here's another fun one. Let's see if I can actually even spell it. Oh yeah.
Oh, Ajay said we did it right. Hey.
Yeah.
Yay. Wow, I can move to Sweden now.
All right. I think I spelled this one right.
I've heard that Swedes are very welcoming to introverts and shy people, so I think
I have heard that they're really, really lovely and welcoming too. All right, you want to try this one?
Oh, Chikachewski.
Not bad actually. Like for as oh there you go, Ajay. There,
Chachewski.
Chechetsky. Yeah,
Chechetsky.
Chechetsky. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like there's no fucking vowels in these names. Lord Kimenete, first name Bob. What are the kids' first names though? Okay, so one of them is Achiko, who goes by Archie or Chico. And the kids, fuck, I forget the kids' names. There's something else, but he's fun too. He's a fun coach dad because he's a really high level coach, and both two of his kids fence, and he's like he'll just get super crazy on the strip when it's his kids, and he'll like yell at me, and I'll yell back, and like he won't care. And at the end of the bout, I'll be like, I'm sorry, it gets with my son. I'm like, yeah, I do. It's not a big deal. We like to scream at each other. There you go. Confirmed. Sweden's for introverts.
Love it. Yes, that's amazing.
I love it. I'm in. Virginia's for lovers, Sweden's for introverts.
I had a kid in elementary school. I can't remember how his name was spelled, but I was the only one that could pronounce it. And his first name was just Kenny, but his last name was Waituetlo. And I don't remember what nationality he was. I want to say he was from like Kazakhstan or something, or somewhere in like very far Eastern Europe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it was Kenny Waituetlo, and I think it started with a V. No one could ever.
You're like, how? Like, how does this work? No, I love those. Those are my favorite. I'm like,
Right.
I don't understand how it works, but but now that I know it, I'm gonna go with it. Baltimore guy. This is the one who sent the very best super chat ever. That you guys are fine, comma. Solid job from Battinson. True that. Keep rocking on, ladies. Woo! Yeah, agreed. Now, that said, I thought his Batman was rocking. Now the only complaint with that, and that's not entirely his fault, was like there are parts where he's with other people, and I'm like, you just look like a boy, even in the suit when you're like surrounded by cops. I'm like, you look like a bitch a little bit. You're just not very physically imposing, and that translates. It would see the thing is my biggest problems with his Bruce Wayne. Like it's hard for me to say. It's hard for me to really knock his Bruce Wayne, aside from like the accent work, because it's the writing, not the acting. In this case, that's the biggest problem. Now, there is, again, that physically imposing thing where he just does not read as a man in most situations. But I don't think Bruce Wayne ever interacted with anyone in this movie that he doesn't like immediately interact with as Batman, like in the next scene or the previous one. So Bruce Wayne doesn't really have his own identity,
No.
And that's sort of like, even though this movie's the first one to just call it out and be like, oh, Batman, that's who you are. And that's, the secret in whoever you are in real life is the secret, is the superhero, or is the mask. And I'm like, that's cool that you called it out, but then you also like did not give Bruce Wayne that mask. He's just a nothing character. He's a recluse, like to the point where he makes Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne look sociable and friendly.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me pull this up. The Batman plot. Let's take you through the plot. Okay, perfect. It's up on Wikipedia now. I feel like Wikipedia.
By comparison, like Michael Keaton's Batman is Mr. Rogers.
Exactly. That's pretty much how it goes. I mean, like literally, you have a Batman who's like who tells Alfred, "You're not my dad." And like the first time we see them interact, he's kind of a dick to Alfred, which is really upsetting.
Jeez. Wow.
Ooh.
Okay. Mm.
Also, by the way, you can't really see it, but I did wear this shirt especially for you, so I thought you should.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that. Yes.
I knew you would.
That's adorable. I've never seen that. That's beautiful. It's a good one.
One of my college friends who shared my love of Star Wars with me would always, when she found stuff like that, would always send me great. She also sent me one of my other favorite ones, the image of Indiana Jones discovering Han Solo frozen in carbonite.
I love that one. That's just like such a classic one. It's so beautiful. It's so freaking perfect. It's so perfect. I don't know how I need to get myself that one because that one's like that's like top
everything.
Top skill. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, yeah, I treasure that one and this one. Jeff got me a great shoot first one. That's like it's a generic style, so it's like you'd have to read it and know. It's like one of those you got to know because it's like not Star Wars themed or any guns. It's a shoot first. I'm like
I like that. I like the subtlety because it could be anything, but if you know, and I like that.
He also like the other one he got me, which it's just a shirt that that Jane's character wears in I think it's in Serenity, in part of Serenity. It's just like that shirt.
I haven't seen it. I need to
see it.
I
gotta show you. I
need to see it, and I know that if you're telling me I need to see it, it means I really need to see it.
So when do you want to come up and do a watch party?
Soon, as soon as possible. As soon as I get my freaking neck figured out.
You gotta get that feeling good.
If you sit still like again, because I haven't been able to.
Yeah.
Move. I have physical therapy tomorrow, and I have my Zoom today, so I'm hoping.
Well, if heat helps when you come up, you can lie on our heat pad.
Oh, do you have a heat pad there? That would be good.
Yeah.
That would help.
Yeah. There you go. Gotta get you taken care of. Yeah. We could wrap it around one of those neck pillows.
Yeah. Do some
cervical
traction.
Just like that'd be great.
Stephen Yarnell's here. Steve is awesome. He said 12 parsecs.
Stephen Yarnell. Yep, damn straight. Castle Rock.
And Optic Racer 21. Hello. I got diagnosed with cervical arthritis, osteoarthritis in my cervical spine. So
fun times.
It's been very painful, needless to say. Yeah, we're figuring it out though. I'm gonna figure it out.
She's gonna be okay. Just we're in California. Just use lots of weed.
I have to say, CBD is one of the only things that helped me until I got a prescription. But I really don't want to rely on a prescription. I do not like the idea of being on like painkillers. I just does not feel like a good situation. So I'm gonna stick to CBD because it really does help a lot.
Yeah. Dude, it definitely whenever you can get the stuff that's like has the small amounts of THC in it, because apparently it helps it activate more. So
it does help. It does make a difference to have a small amount in there. And I like, if I choose to, I can get high, but I can also choose not to get too high. And it's great.
We have some tinctures we got on promo that we haven't used a lot of. So if you want one of those, hooks you up.
I would love that. I would love it.
Mad the Magnificent is here. He says, dropping by to say hi and to make another movie suggestion for movie night. Cool as Ice. It's a cinematic classic right up there with Citizen Kane. I can't say that I've actually seen it ever.
I've never even heard of Cool as Ice.
I don't think I have either. Let's see. Cool as Ice.
I love Citizen Kane, though. That's one of my favorites. And I actually mean it when I say that. I know a lot of people say that it's like, one of the best, but I actually love Citizen Kane. I think it's so beautiful.
All right. Cool as Ice is a 1990. Oh my God. This is definitely, fuck movie night. Mad. This is going to be a comfy bitches. Oh my God. It's the Vanilla Ice movie. That's what I thought. I was like, is this the Vanilla Ice movie? It is. Okay. Oh my God. Mad. We're going to do this as a comfy bitches episode. American romantic musical comedy film. Directed by David Kellogg, written by David Sen, and starring rapper Vanilla Ice in his feature film debut. The plot focuses on Johnny Van Owen, a freewheeling motorcycle riding rapper who arrives in a small town and meets Kathy, an honor student who catches his eye. Meanwhile, Kathy's father, who is in witness protection, is found by the corrupt police officers he escaped from years ago. This is a winner. Thank you, Mad. Mad. I knew you would not lead me astray in your suggestions. Bro, this is a fucking winner. All right.
Oh, so that's you is that you and Hadass?
Yeah, that's our Sunday show. If you ever want to come and be a part of it, by the way.
Oh my gosh, I love Hadass. She was like my anchor that night at your. Every time I was like freaking out, I would look over at her. She'd just be so chill.
Like everything's good. She just makes everything okay. She's wonderful. She's a
She's-
wonderful human. She
she's
finally has her own kitty now too. And her kitty
Oh,
finally met our kitties.
oh.
Her name's
How did that
Pixie.
go? How was the kitty play date?
Great. She was just mostly scared. Just, new place. All my cats were super intrigued. They're like, "Who is this? Oh my god, hello, hello, hello." So they were all
Oh, I love that. That's so cute. Okay, I'm sorry. I took you away from your Batman notes again.
No, not at all. Not at all. Heavy endorsement for this movie right here.
Okay.
Because this is an actual line from the movie. Yo, when you gonna drop that zero and get with a hero? Ready for it. And another endorsement. I can try and write my name. Says Cool as Ice is a masterpiece. All right, well, it's done. It's settled then. I'll bring it up to Hadas, but we will put this on the list for comfy bitches for sure. This is too good to keep alone in our little mindless mob hideaways. Oh, I don't know if you do Discord at all, by the way, but we do have a mindless mob Discord movie night. That's for all the rest of you guys. Make sure you go to join the Discord and do the movies. We will have our next one will be on the 23rd. Normally it'll be Thursdays, but we're going to be traveling for Horror Hound the last weekend of this month. So it'll be the last Wednesday of the month instead. Hi, Lando.
Horror Hound?
Horror Hound, yeah.
What
It's
is
a
that?
horror convention. It is a horror convention.
Oh, that's cool.
When do you want to come with us to do one of these?
What is it? Like what is it?
Ouch. Ow, cat. Ow. So it's literally just a horror convention in Cincinnati. So they get a lot of special guests, like Matthew Lillard is gonna be a big one this time, a lot of Scream guests.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we should go see the Scream House. It's in California.
Oh, we should totally go see. Yes, we totally should.
I think it's further up north, but I love Scream. And I love that so much of it was actually shot at the house, like the final, like
I know.
Oh my gosh. And it's all still standing and they kept it so similar. I watched have you guys watched Adam the Woo?
No.
Oh, he's fun. He used to live in California. He's lived all over, but he used to live in California. So he used to go to all the like old movie sets and stuff. And that's one of the ones that they kept. So
nice.
The people that own it keep it like pretty close to what it was in the actual movie. And so many of the scenes, like the kitchen scene, the TV scene where they're watching the movie, the garage scene, the foyer when you walk in, it's all the same. The staircase, everything's there.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh my God, that's so cool. I love it.
And I think they do tours around Halloween. So, oh my God.
That's badass. I love that movie. So yeah, anyone who's into Scream, Horror Hound Cincinnati coming up at the end of the month, they're going to have Matthew Lillard and a whole bunch of other people from the movies are going to be there. It's a big Screamcast feature. But yeah, they always get a lot of big names. They have awesome vendors and artists. We got these great creepy sketches the last time we were there. And then Jeff sets up a world-class bullshitters booth. And so anyone who comes gets to join, gets deputized as their second floor crew, gets to hang out. And, we hang out all day at the conventions, promote WCBS stuff, buy things, hang out more, go to dinner, hang out more, stream.
I just wish I could bring the cats with you.
I know, dude, that would be the best. We keep wanting to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you ever want to come out on one of those traps,
That sounds amazing. I mean, if I ever do pull myself out out of my little hole here, that would be a worthy excuse.
Yeah, they happen twice a year, so you got lots of there's never any rush or any pressure. Are you thinking about doing anything for a celebration since it is our neck of the woods this year?
I wasn't I feel like I'm still not ready to go into like big crowds again.
Reasonable.
I just feel like more like from like an anxiety, like a social anxiety. I've never been a big crowds person. Like when I was younger in college and stuff, I used to go to concerts and stuff all the time. But now I feel kind of like a little agoraphobic after the last couple of years, and especially with like grief and stuff added in. I think it just like fucked with my head a little bit. So I'm working my way up, but I don't feel ready yet for celebration. But I don't know. Are you going?
I don't know. I think at the least I might try to like organize some fan related things. Like, hey, I'll be here around the area of celebration. Let's come hang out and do cooler things than give Disney our money. So
yeah, that's the thing. For me, I just don't feel ready for like going to an actual theme park. Just sounds like way too much for me right now.
Definitely
too much stimulation. Yeah, just
definitely. Oh yeah, no, for sure. No, I'm thinking more like I would want to go, post up in a bar somewhere and be like, we're at this bar come see us.
Yeah, that sounds doable. That sounds much more manageable for my like bandwidth meter right
That's
now.
more of me. Or I might even try to organize like a little mini event of my own, like small venue kind of thing of, but like, my own people who want to do some performances, a little open mic kind of thing, comedy, music, some chill, some fandom menacy, but yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe even a 1-7 live sponsored event. Who knows? I am, trying to make myself important on that platform, and it's working slowly but surely. Tits Live Act mandatory carry. Thank you for the super chat. All I can ask is you just hashtag keep fighting no matter what. We do, man. We do. Thank you for being here. I saw you were gonna go back to take. It's that it is nap time, so you'll catch us on the replay. Thank you for stopping in to give us that little bit of support. And this is for you. That's this is just my moment of hurrah for you watching. This is for you, especially watching it on the replay, knowing that we are thinking about you, even though it's the future wherever you are. We are now the past. And do guys make sure you go check me out on 1-7 Live. I will be streaming over there right after this today. But without further ado, okay, so spoiling the Batman. This is how. I'm not ruining the movie, Boonky Time. I'm just spoiling the whole plot. So if you haven't seen it and you're like, I don't want to know, go away now. But don't worry, because if you've seen a lot of other Batman stuff, you could predict anything that happens in this movie because nothing is original. But that's okay. Okay, on Halloween, Gotham City Mayor Don Mitchell Jr. is murdered by a man calling himself the Riddler. Reclusive billionaire Bruce Wayne, who has operated for 2 years as the vigilante Batman, investigates alongside the Gotham City Police Department. All right, so that's our beginning. Our opening is this nice. Let's set the stage of Gotham City. Gotham's really cool. That's another thing. Visually, Gotham is really fucking cool this time around. So, you know how the past few times they've just like shot it in Chicago and like tried to make it not look like Chicago, and they usually just shoot it somewhere and try to make it look as generically everywhere as possible.
Yeah, and that bothers me because Gotham is one of my favorite parts of the whole Batman world. Is the fact that Gotham is its own character, so it really sucks when it gets sideswiped and you don't even feel like it's there. There's no world building, essentially.
Yeah, so the decision they made that I thought was really cool was instead of trying to make it look like nowhere, they tried to make it look like everywhere. So like there were buildings that were Philadelphia. Like they used Philly City Hall. They 100% used Philly City Hall, and then the facade of the art museum at one point. I think the train station in one place. And I think maybe a couple other parts that were definitely Philly, but then they used a couple parts that were definitely Chicago, like some of the train lines and parts. And again, I don't know if any of this was actually shooting on the ground there or just CGIing facades or pieces that were going to look like that. Hey, Mary Mayhem's in the chat. What's up, my love? What's up?
I'm just typing hello to her. Oh, hi, Mary.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Mary. Oh, she sent us a super sticker. Thank you, Mary. I hope you're having fun with all your puppies. If anyone doesn't know, Mary is her puppet had puppies, and she has puppies, and they found homes for all of them. So. Because the plan is she's gonna keep one from the next letter, I believe.
Oh, that's so sweet. Wait, what kind of dog does she have?
That's a mix of something, right? What is the blend? They're adorable, but Mary, you'll have to tell me what the breeding is. It's an adorable blend.
Send me pics. I'm so
excited. It's something has a little like Australian something in it, right? Because it's got that blue merle thing. If I'm remembering correctly.
Or something.
If I'm remembering correctly. People showed me a lot of puppy pictures. So yeah, Australiers. Okay, I was all right.
Australiers.
Yeah, so Australian Shepherd, King Charles or Cavaliers. Yeah, King Charles Cavaliers, right? Yes, maybe, sort of.
That's cute.
Yes, so cute puppies. What was this a sticker of? It's a happy face with hearts. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. So every time I talk to Mary now, you just hear puppies in the background.
It's so joyous.
It is. This is joyous. Keeping mama on her toes. So back to the Batman. So yeah, that was one really cool thing though. Gotham, they made the decision. So like they did that. They pulled out recognizable pieces of everywhere. So again, I don't know if they went to any of these locations or if they just CGI. There were certain facades that were definitely New York buildings, you know. And so you got a sense that Gotham was everywhere. And so when you looked out, whenever you looked out over it, it was almost this like it repeated forever. In a really interesting, it was like that the recognizable, the fact they didn't shy away from the recognizability helped, because then you recognized it but couldn't place it, so eventually you just settled into it and it felt like a very real place but also a very made up place at the same time. And the only part where this doesn't work is where just there are a lot of elements in this movie where they wanted to slide into these more Batman-y elements, more comic booky or animated series paced elements that don't read the same way in a hyper realistic universe. So I think the opening is a great example of that. This opening is pretty cool. You see the mayor through the set of binoculars. You hear this creepy breathing, and then you all of a sudden, you know, you're in his house and there's the Riddler standing behind him, who you only know is the Riddler if you've watched the trailers, because he's just a dude dressed all in black. Just looks like basically scary combat gear, you know, with only his glasses showing. And comes in, kills this guy horrifically with like a chisel-y thing. And then I think from there you just move into introducing Batman himself, because it's this like, oh, you never know where he's going to show up kind of thing. Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? And here are the criminals, and there's the bat signal, and who do you know? A little bit blah, blah, blah. And so it's the like gang that has painted themselves to look like the Joker. So it's this gang whose faces are all painted completely white, except for the new initiate whose face is painted half white. And you can clearly see then that he's actually a young black kid who's this new gang initiate who then corner this Asian man out at the station. And I'm adding these details because it's important. And then you hear this incredibly dramatic fanfare, this massive stuff that lets you know that Batman is fucking coming up the stairs. And then like this guy, Batman walks onto the screen, and it's just like, this is the first place where, you know, thank you music. Thank you amazing, wonderful fanfare for letting me know that Batman is coming. But then like, think about your Batman Forever entrances. Batman crashes through ceilings into fountains. You know, he swoops through, he swoops down from rafters. He's always dropping in from somewhere dramatically. That's a Batman entrance. This Batman just walks upstairs because we're stuck in this Nolan-esque gritty realistic world where everything has to be hyper fucking realistic. But, you know, then whatever. And then you get this badass, realistic, brutal fight scene that lets us know this Batman ain't pulling his punches. He is punching your face to a pulp. And yet, for some reason, inexplicably, even though he beats the shit out of literally everyone else to the point where the guy he came to save is scared of him, he just lets the initiate go because, you know, that's fine, which seems fine at the time until you find out this is not consistent with Batman's moral character. So I had those details, so we'll come back to that in point of reference later. So that's Batman. And then we actually get into a really interesting relationship where we find out that Batman and Commissioner Gordon have a very, their relationship is like it is in the animated series, where Commissioner Gordon implicitly trusts Batman to come and help him with all this stuff. And although he's not the commissioner, he's just a lieutenant now. And the other police officers are sort of split as to whether like, yeah, Batman's a hero, or he shouldn't be here. Fuck this guy. So you're like, okay, that's fine. That's cool. It's interesting. And it's a nice take too, to see Batman just like show up at a crime scene as Batman and have everyone be like, freak, whatever. They pull the little trope of one guy who like hates Batman, you know, when he sees him as Batman, but then sees him as Bruce Wayne and is like, oh, Bruce Wayne, I love you. So, you know, a little Spider-Man trope, but it's good, works. And so they discover at this crime scene that that there's a message left for the Batman, and so then Commissioner. The police commissioner becomes the Riddler's next victim. The Riddler's best stroke comes in a thumb drive, which ends up being the phone drive left in a car, hence the drive clue with the victim's thumb cut off and attached to that. So yeah. Yeah, fun times. Fun times. So so that was cool, but then it's like then they dropped off away from the jokes too, which was like less fun. It's like that was like what an interesting way to build off of, say, like I'm gonna make this pencil disappear kind of gruesome, like, oh, we'll take silly jokes that work in the Batman universe and make them kind of, gritty and realistic and gruesome. Cool. Until they just don't bother to follow through with that. But I digress. So in the process of this too, they come back. So in the process of these two murders, they get the ciphers and codes. And so Alfred, Andy Serkis, basically just ends up picking up the codes to decode them himself because Batman doesn't do anything.
Wait, Andy Serkis is Alfred?
Yeah, Andy Serkis is Alfred.
How was
he's really good as Alfred.
Really?
He's like amazing as Alfred. Yeah, but it just sucks because it's like Bruce Wayne is just like, you're not my dad. And he's like, no shit, bro. And then there's another scene where he's like, oh, if you're going to go out in public for the first time in like ever. Because there's the whole thing too, where Alfred's like, hey, I have your accountants here to talk to you here since you never show up at Wayne Enterprises to do your job. So blah. Like he's that level of reclusive to the point of like, where's he even like, where's any of this money? Like also what is Wayne Enterprises? Because his dad's a doctor in this one. And so like, he's not a businessman. That's a whole other thing. He's like a mob doctor, low key, but whatever.
They made his dad a mob doctor. Was that canon on any level?
His dad was just the guy who started Wayne Enterprises.
Wait, so his dad's never been a doctor? Wait,
no.
Interesting.
No, this is a little detail that they had to include for reasons later, which we'll understand.
Okay. So I was intrigued by what the reasoning would be for that. Okay.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's bad, but
okay.
Anywho, okay. So then you get that was a pretty fun one. The chief, that was the one I think with the rats, where like they put a box on his head, and he let his face get eaten by a rat and all this shit. So basically, the Riddler's trying to blow up this whole thing, basically saying there was a rat that the police are protecting. And that was the rat. So it's on the backdrop of the Maroney case, which is again now, you're starting to say, wow, this is starting to sound a lot like Batman, The Dark Knight all over again, where the backdrop is the Maroney bust. And now we have a psychotic clown character, even though he's not really clowny in this one, who has his feelings about corruption and what have yous. And so this guy is setting himself up as a noble crusader who wants to fix corruption. And so is going after the DA and the police commissioner and all these people, the mayor, who covered up the corruption and are still protecting the rat who busted, who allowed them to bust Maroney and all this stuff. And so we have this great scene, just like when, although he's Falcone in this one, because apparently Falcone and Maroney was too confusing for our new stupid audiences. So we have like a nice parallel to the Dark Knight scene where he goes in and he, grabs Falcone and dangles him and yells and screams. And only this time he comes and he threatens the Penguin, because the Penguin's, Falcone's right-hand man. That's another win in this movie. Colin Farrell's Penguin, just really cool.
Farrell's Penguin?
Colin Farrell's the Penguin.
Who is that? Oh my gosh.
And yeah. I think the thing is though, he's a cool setup, but he's just really in place he's sort of waiting in the wings to be set up as the big villain for the next movie. Right. So like he's a really, really cool baseline character, but you're like, all right, you didn't really do anything interesting.
I kind of love that. I just saw the remake of Fright Night, and Colin Farrell is the vampire like antagonist in Fright Night. And he was so fun. He really hammed it up. Like he didn't phone it in, which I was very happy about because it's kind of like a smaller movie. So
yeah, I love Colin Farrell. I think he does a great job. I think he does a great job in general.
Yeah. Wow, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell's the Penguin. Okay.
Yeah. So so we get this little confrontation with his penguin. That's nice. All that good stuff. So then we get into this. Because the images in the thumb drive that the Riddler now has publicized to everyone has the mayor with this. Basically, stripper chick escort from this CD club. So he goes there, and that's when he notices Selena Kyle, who's the stripper chick. Turns out is the roommate of the other stripper chick. So they work. They're waitresses, but they're basically glorified prostitutes at this working here. And so then basically Batman is like, he comes home to question Annika. He finds out that she's Catwoman, all that stuff. and then gets her to help him find out more about what's going on with Falcone. But then she kind of goes rogue because all she cares about is what's happened to Annika. And because once she disappears, she's like, I need to know. But then she has some relationship with Falcone, and she won't tell him, and so she's like, fuck you and whatever. Yeah, so they're having the funeral for the mayor, and then that's when the DA shows up with a bomb on his neck. Batman helps. Oh, yeah, this is the fun part, right? So there's 3 riddles. We can answer 3 riddles, you won't die. So Batman answers the first 2, and then the third one is, well, who's the informant? Who's the name of this informant you guys have been protecting? And he won't answer it. So the bomb blows up in Batman's face. This guy is very dead. And we discover that Batman is bomb-proof. This is the thing in this movie. Batman is bulletproof. He is bomb-proof. He is everything-proof. There's one point where he walks up to some people who are all shooting him. It might even be that first scene. They just shoot him. Bullets just bounce off him. He's completely bulletproof in this movie. So he just walks through gunfire and then just beats people up. And then in this instance, he does not even get his hands up. He is literally standing kissing distance to a guy with a bomb strapped around his collar. Face bomb collar, right the fuck here. Doesn't even get his hands up in time. Gets blown to shit. Doesn't even get burn scars on his face. Oh, by the way, that cracks me up too. That shit fucking cracks me up because I think at this point, it might be to this point that we still haven't even seen Bruce Wayne. It takes so fucking long for them to actually show us Bruce Wayne. And the first time we see him, it's after he's been beaten up or done whatever. He takes off and he literally looks like he's crying, emo tears, crying his eyeliner out, just black streaks of. It's embarrassing. And then that first time we get to our first, our characterization of Bruce Wayne is him, driving off on his motorcycle. And then the song that we're listening to is Something in the Way by Nirvana. And this is a song that Kurt Cobain wrote about the time that he was homeless, living underneath a bridge. It's a very autobiographical song. It's very sad. It's very dark. I feel like it's just a really odd choice to use that song as your purposeful characterization of your billionaire.
Yeah.
And this is coming from the lens of I'm on the lens that Bruce Wayne is a sympathetic character, that he's gone through shit and we should feel bad for him. But I think that's just a little out of touch. I just think that one was just a little really you're using an autobiographical song about a guy who was homeless living under a bridge to show how difficult this guy's life is, who's literally lives in a mansion. I'm I just think you hit the wrong note on that. There are other when they use that song in the trailer to sort of characterize Gotham. I was that's appropriate. If they didn't use the movie in that
works. Gotham, that works.
Yeah, if you're characterizing Gotham as this character, as this destitute, down on its luck, whatever, that's where we're at tonally, sure. But you so specifically and pointedly paired it to not Batman or not this character, this whatever, the literal introduction of Bruce Wayne, the billionaire. And I'm yeah, okay, you did this wrong. Anyways, so informants, blah blah blah. All right, let me just read the important parts. This is the riddles. So okay, so then all this time, and Andy Serkis, Alfred, even though Batman is just sitting there being you're not my real dad. There's a great little moment where he actually has to go out somewhere to be as Bruce Wayne, and so here she's here you should wear these cufflinks. They're Wayne cufflinks. And he's and yet you're not a Wayne. And then Alfred's yeah, your dad gave these to me. And he's all oh, well, maybe I shouldn't be such a fucking bitch. Case in point. So yeah, and that's when when he and Gordon accidentally corner the Penguin and accuse him of being the informant, even though he's not. And it turns out the reason that they thought he was and got it wrong was because they got the pronoun wrong. They mistranslated a pronoun from Spanish, and getting the pronoun wrong is why they got the riddle wrong. Yeah. So that's
wait. Hang on. Did they do this on purpose in the movie?
That's the plot point of the movie.
The plot point of the movie. Wait. Okay.
The plot point of the movie is, and I still don't even understand how it makes sense in whatever way, but it was El Rata something is the rat with wings, but it's not. It would have been La Rata, and so El Rata makes it something else, which makes it a different clue, which they didn't even explain really well at all. other than the point of, oh, you got your pronouns wrong. And if you hadn't mistranslated your pronouns, if you understood which pronouns to use here, you would have understood the riddle.
Okay.
Yeah, real rich. Real fucking rich. So yeah. So then this is when you find out the plot thickens, and in somewhere in this rolling into the third act, you find out that his next target is Bruce Wayne. The Riddler's next target is Bruce Wayne. How does Bruce Wayne connect to the corruption? Well, the son must pay for the sins of the father is the logic here. And what are the sins of the father? Well, Bruce Wayne, and this is even he remembers to an extent when he was a boy. There was some instance in which Falcone had been attacked, and so he came to, and it's still not clear what the full truth is as to whether he was previously a friend of the Waynes or if this was the beginning of the friendship with the Waynes. But essentially, he was a mobster, so he went to a doctor, knowing that a doctor takes an Hippocratic oath to do no harm.
Yeah.
So it's either that, either he went to his house personally knowing that he takes this oath and therefore would help him, or it's they already were friends and had a thing, but that's still never fully resolved. So at some point that's the case, and so Falcone has this debt to Thomas Wayne as the doctor who saved his life after something went wrong. And so then when Thomas Wayne is then running for mayor, so in this universe, Martha is Martha Arkham. She's from the Arkham family now, and she had a history of mental illness that the Arkhams covered up. And so in order to cover, there was somebody who was going to expose it when Thomas Wayne was running for mayor. And so in order to cover it up, Thomas Wayne went to Falcone to have him take care of the guy. And he never, according to Alfred, your father never knew that he would have the man killed. According to Falcone, he wanted me to take care of him. He knew what I was going to do. Whatever. So you have this, again, this gray morality. Who was Thomas Wayne? Was he a good guy? Was he a bad guy? And now Bruce Wayne has to pay for these sins because, this whole thing turns out then Thomas Wayne's big, wonderful act was to make this charity.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, Jesse, before I forget, I think Nick from Echo Base Network is here, and I think it's his birthday. So
it's
happy
his birthday,
Nick. I think so. I saw somebody else wish him happy birthday, and he said thank you. So I'm assuming he would have corrected someone if it wasn't
hey, he just says
we're live. It's good to see you.
They are live streaming tonight for his birthday celebration. So happy birthday, Nick! Echo Base Network. We back it.
Nick's awesome.
Yeah, you guys are talking about the Obi-Wan trailer tonight, I guess.
I still haven't watched it. Don't give me any spoilers on that because that's something I actually really do want to see. I really want to see that. Well, at least the trailer. I don't know if I'm going to watch the show, but I want to see the trailer.
Yeah. See it in the back. I haven't watched it yet either, so I will take a look.
Yeah.
I'll take a look. Happy birthday, Nick! That's so exciting. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
I hope you have an awesome, awesome stream tonight. So everyone, guys, go check out Echo Base Network's birthday stream later / Obi-Wan trailer review. Awesome guys. Yes. Awesome peeps over there. Yar. So where are we with the Batman? Okay, so now we're all coming to a head with the Bruce Wayne plot lines. Where so what was the name of this stupid charity? Basically, his father had started this big charitable trust. And that's where it all comes back to at the end. Was Thomas Wayne had started this big charitable fund, essentially, his active charity, and had not left any direction for what would happen. So when he was murdered, all of his cronies, basically all the people in Gotham, the corrupt whatever's got a piece of the pie. And so that's where this then rolls onto Bruce Wayne's shoulders because of the Wayne Foundation. No, it wasn't the Wayne Foundation. It was something else in the movie. It was called something else in the movie. I thought it was. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was the Wayne Foundation. Maybe I'm just whatever. Maybe you're right. Whatever it was. But so whatever foundation it was, I thought they had some other weird name for it that kept coming up on some code name. Maybe it's in here. No. And yeah. So So I guess there's it's insinuated then that this is somehow also where it becomes Bruce Wayne's fault, where he at no point, so we know by context that he's about 30 in this and he's been Batman for 2 years and that he feels really, really strongly about being the Batman because somehow this is the way to carry on his father's legacy of trying to help Gotham and clean up the corruption, because I guess that's what what his mayoral platform was cleaning up the corruption and blah. And so he does not at any point take up this charity or decide to do anything with all this charitable money he has access to. No, that's not how he's going to carry on his father's legacy. The only way he can think to possibly carry on his father's legacy is to put on a cape and run around the streets beating up bad guys. Cool. Great. I don't understand how that even close to makes sense, but whatever. And so, but at the same time, now he's being held accountable for literally what I'm of the mind too. Because then there's the mayoral candidate. So the person running against the guy who got killed is the black chick who really has a very nothing role aside from she's really going to be the one to end corruption. And then she goes to Bruce Wayne at one point at like the funeral, because that's an appropriate time to accost people, and is like, Bruce, you should be doing more for the city. Why don't you give more money and participate in more charities and this and that? And it's like, basically all she's like, we reached out. Essentially what she's saying is, we reached out to you for a donation. Why didn't you give us money? Because obviously if you really want the city to get better, then you would endorse us. And you didn't endorse us. So why? Hooray. And so then the things get really out of hand, because up until this point, you have this interesting narrative going on where you're like, okay, we have some moral relativity here. We've got Selena Kyle, who's like a good person doing bad things.
Oh my God, Will Gentry. I haven't seen Will Gentry in like...
Will Gentry!
I didn't know he was alive.
Oh my God. Can't stay, as I'm going to see this soon. I just wanted to say, I hope you're both well. And I hit 1 full year this coming Tuesday. Yay! Yay!
Yes!
Congratulations, Will! I'm sorry that I haven't reached out to you, or I've been so crazy busy, and I've been like, I don't know what your communication lit and stuff, and I feel bad because I'm like, I've been wanting to follow up. So you're catching this in the replay and such. So thank you. Wonderful to hear. So fucking proud of you, dude. So fucking proud of you. I will be streaming this Tuesday, so we will definitely I will make a note to myself to remind myself to throw in a little celebration for that shit, because that is fucking awesome, Will. I'm so fucking proud of you, dude.
Congrats, Will. That's awesome. Wow. Really, really proud of you. Really happy for you.
So happy, man.
I haven't seen him in so long. I was wondering where he was.
I know. I've been keeping tabs like low key when I'm like, oh, you've heard? Okay, someone's heard. Because I'm like, hey, like I said, I've been crazy busy, and I've been missing all my friends and this and that. So I'm like trying to make sure I know. I think it was his birthday recently. So happy birthday, Will. Because I believe that it was.
Happy birthday, Will.
Yes, happy everything. Happy year, happy awesome. Oh my God, just yay.
That's really sweet. Oh, I love that. That's really good. Those are good circumstances to have not had heard from him. So I'm glad that it's positive.
Oh yeah. Good business. Hooray. Huzzah. Aw, now back to this garbage movie.
Yeah, anyone that doesn't want, if you're seeing it, Will, you should leave because you're going to hear spoilers. So
there will be Batman. We're getting into all the spoilers, because here again, at this point, we're getting up there. So now you have all these little pieces dangling, all these things where it's like Bruce Wayne, because then you have these weird moments too, where you have Bruce Wayne suddenly telling Selena Kyle that he doesn't give a shit about finding her friend Annika because she's just some dumb whore and she knew what she was getting herself into. So like literally in the same sentence is like, she didn't know what she was getting herself into, but she should have known what she was getting herself into. Therefore, the fact that she got killed is no big fucking deal. Because she does get murdered. They find out she gets murdered, and Selena's all flipped out about it. Oh my God. Which then when you find out that her whole thing is she's just on this big revenge kick, because it's hilarious to me. So her mother was one of the like Falcone's whores basically, and then he knocked her up, and so that was, and up until in the beginning everything was cool. Whatchamacallit? Everything was cool, and he treated her kind of like a daughter, and was sweet to her and whatnot and stuff. And then the mom caused some issues, and so he had her killed, and then let the social services take the kid away, and blah blah blah. And so she swore this revenge, and so she was working for him in this big scheme to rip him off basically and steal his money. But because that was in vengeance for her murdered mother and her destroyed life, she wanted to steal his money. But once he killed her fucking roommate friend, now she needs to kill him. Now she's out for fucking blood. Now she's just has to murder him because that's obviously fair and just. And so even though this is a Batman who we saw let some kid go who was getting ready to beat the shit out of an innocent stranger so he could be inducted into some psychotic gang in the beginning of the movie, this Batman all of a sudden now feels like it's fine that you got murdered as a completely innocent waitress at a shitty location just trying to make ends meet. That's totally fine. So like some interesting moral inconsistency. We need to set up the fact that Batman is the bad guy because that's, again, when it all breaks open. So there's the bust where where the Riddler allows himself to be caught, and it's he assassinates Falcone, as he's arrested. So basically they find out Falcone was the rat. Falcone was the one that took down Maroni, that busts him and all this stuff. And essentially it's not that the police and stuff were all protecting Falcone. It's that Falcone essentially had all the cops on his payroll. Everything was corrupt, blah, blah. Very reflective of how he did the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. And so then when they're arresting Falcone and bringing him out, that's when the Riddler shoots him. That's when he allows himself to be caught and unmasked. And we discover that he's just this sort of vaguely autistic, angry white boy who up until this point was painted as possibly, equally, in Antifa or like other side, kind of more almost the Antifa side of things. And then all of it's because he's, fighting corruption, but just militantly and violently and all this shit. And then once he's unmasked and he's just a white guy, now all of a sudden we go off the rails. He's not just targeting corruption anymore. He's killing anybody. And he becomes, up until this point, he hasn't really been the bad guy in the eyes of Gotham either, because no one in the city is panicked over him. Nobody in the city is freaking out about him because he's only attacking the rich people. Only they are. And they even touch on that and are explicit about that during the movie, where they're like, yeah, all of us people are panicked because he's going after us people. But the rest of the city is like, I don't know. Maybe it's good that this guy is going after this corruption. Maybe it's a good thing. At points, Bruce Wayne and Catwoman express that like, maybe it's what this guy is doing is kind of good. But then all of a sudden, when he's unmasked as the white man, now he's taken it too far and wants to preemptively kill the other mayoral candidate because even though she's this progressive black woman, she is just a politician, just like anybody else. And so now we have to kill her. And so now once he wants to go kill a person of color, now he's contextualized as a black and white purely evil villain who, by the way, has rallied all of his supporters online by being this anonymous force, somebody with no name who we don't know, who's gathered all of his people. And so it didn't matter that he was in jail now because they were ready to rally and go take care of this assassination for him. He said of these charges to, detonate the floodgates, all the chaos and blah, blah, blah. And of course, so Batman doesn't call himself Batman in this movie. Oh, the Riddler is the one who names him Batman. He calls himself Vengeance the whole time.
Wait. Batman calls himself Vengeance?
Yes. Whenever anyone says, "Who are you?" he says, "I am Vengeance."
Okay.
And so then like one of these Riddler wannabe goons then looks at him at one point right before he's going to kill him and goes, "I am Vengeance." And then Batman has this whole moment and goes, "Oh no, I'm the bad guy. I thought I was the good guy after all, but I'm no different from the Riddler and one of his crazy vigilantes who's just out here breaking the law, thinking I'm doing right, but just being another privileged white man asserting my opinions everywhere. So how can I learn to be an ally?" So he spends the rest of the movie just like going into rubble, like helping to pick people out of the rubble and put them onto stretchers and finally make people feel safe instead of scared for once. Hooray. Hooray for the Batman. Hooray for him. I don't know why I'm Marvin Martian all of a sudden, but it just sort of happened that way.
Wow. So they really went in with that.
They broke it all open right there. And it was just like, oh, you just did that. You just went there.
I just miss when movies could just be movies. And like once in a while you'd have social commentary in a film. And if it was well done, it was moving and it was like eye-opening. But like usually it was just a movie being a movie and the characters were just characters. And the world was just the world that it was built as. And some movies were good and some movies were bad. But now it's like every mainstream movie just needs to be social commentary.
And the weird part is how many people are missing it in this one. Like it's become very insidious, and that's it's an interesting thing because on the one hand, I would have said, well, that's a good thing. They've learned. They've taken my note. They've realized that if you want to inject this bullshit into a movie, you have to be subtle. You have to slip it in between the lines, underneath, in and out, and that's what they do in this for the most part. There's very few moments, other than I would say, again, the ones that really stick out. This fumble over the pronouns, because, and again, it wasn't until Jeff realized later that they were messing up pronouns that I realized why it was so awkward. That the translation bit didn't really make sense. They were just trying to go for a pronoun metaphor. So you're like, oh, okay, that's why. The line again, where all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Batman is suddenly like, "Wow, she deserved to die," and I'm like, but that's not consistent with any of the way you've acted throughout the rest of this movie. Oh, you had to say that though, so you could have your moment of wokeness, of becoming woke.
Right. Right. It was that all of those choices and behaviors were injected so that we could later see the pivot and the moment of awareness and change to how it to be better. And hey, class, here's how you start to be better. You become an ally and you align yourself with the causes that you've unknowingly, unwittingly been against the whole time. So it's literally, it's a lesson.
Yeah.
But it's a really, I love when movies are lessons. I love when movies have lessons. I shouldn't say that. I hate when movies are lessons. I love when movies have lessons in them. Yeah. I don't want to be told how to think and feel and behave by a movie. I would like to be inspired by a movie to think and feel differently and to look at things differently. But I don't like being told how to follow the rules or how I should be a good person or a better person, because I like to educate myself on those things. And there's a whole thing called the internet where we can continually educate ourselves on these things, but we want to go to movies to enjoy movies. And I'm not saying they have to be mindless entertainment. Hey, but it can be very mindful entertainment too. But geez, sorry. Just frustrating. No, I just want to be able to see a freaking movie. I don't care what it is, but this is why I don't really watch Hollywood movies anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Ajay, see, it's funny because on the surface I agree, but then underneath this is actually very insidious too. When the Black Mare gets shot, I thought it was pretty funny. Literally, right before Gordon is like, "Do not go out onto the stage. There are snipers. You will get shot." And she's like, "No, I need to go out there and be a leader for people." And she walks out and immediately gets shot. It's like, there you go. She doesn't die. She just gets wounded. She gets saved by Batman later, and all this shit, and all that. But again, though, that's insidious woke messaging. And because what's the message here? The message is, and it's right when she was going to do that, I'm like, yes, this is the right thing. The message is wanting everyone to come together, wanting peace, wanting to reach across and make your enemies your friends or calm people down, or this is the wrong thing. Because when she went to go do that, when she went to go try to be brave in the face of the enemies and bring people together, she got shot, and it was proven to be the wrong choice. So you see that a lot in movies. That's one of the really, what I would say is one of the most subtle bits of woke messaging. And you have two kinds of woke messaging. You have the woke propaganda films like Judas and the Black Messiah, which wants to recontextualize history to suck out any form of nuance and make it so that, this very controversial figure who did a lot of good, but also did a lot of bad is an unequivocal hero. And that's the only way to look at it.
Wow. That's don't get me started on that kind of messaging.
That's most of what we've seen lately. And then we've seen this other kind, though, which has these certain really specific tropes that you see over and over again. And one of those is that. One of those is do not try to be friends with the enemy, because they are not worth saving. They cannot be saved. They cannot be reached. They cannot be spoken to. They are beyond saving. So do not try to do that. Yes, that's the most insidious one that I've seen, because it lands for people. It resonates for people without them realizing that it is, because it feels good. It feels good to go, yeah, no, I don't have to bother with your bullshit. You're wrong. I should just stand up to the fact that you're wrong and be right. And what it does is just more confirmation bias. I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to listen or entertain ideas outside of myself. If I do, that's dangerous. I'll get hurt. I will get hurt if I entertain something outside of my comfort zone.
That is the most insidious message you've told me so far. That is very dark to put, and people are already feeling that. So to
prey upon that existing fear.
Yeah.
And then the other one, which is on full display in this movie, which is funny because it got Jeff until we talked about it. And I'm like, yeah, it feels really, really good. The anti-class message always feels good. The anti-class message.
Mm-hmm.
But in this movie, they have done a very bad job in our anti-woke messaging by obviously conflating whiteness and class and privilege. So we're attacking your whiteness because your whiteness is your privilege. In this movie, we attack your privilege. We're attacking your class. We're attacking your corruption, your privilege, or this or that. And it just so happens that every single character in that group is a white man, and that it just so happens that our only characters of color happen to be exceptionally virtuous, down to the victim in the first scene being an Asian man during a time when random acts of violence against Asian people are hitting the news in our country. The one cop who hates Batman but loves Bruce Wayne, who at the end is the one who figures out the one piece that makes the connection that helps him figure out something about the Riddler, is an Hispanic cop. Commissioner Gordon is black. Selena Kyle is a black woman. The other, well, we don't really know much about her roommate, if she's strong or not, but she's a woman too, and she's the unequivocal victim, and she's female. So those things, that's where it becomes subtle, because your messaging is very clear. And then the way it's presented just shakes down to let you know. It's the same kind of thing. It's what they always tell you. It's what's reflected in your media that matters. It's the color of the people that matters. If kids don't see heroes reflected as this, that, and the other, they won't know that it's possible for this to be a that. And I'm like, okay, see, there's a level of validity in saying that at some point, somewhere in the media, every archetype of character should at some point be represented by all different types of people for kids, for the purpose of letting children understand and know that any type of person can be any type of person. It's a lot more open-ended like that than people want to treat it. Every single movie has to have every single rainbow and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And we have to balance the scales and tip to this. No, there is validity to saying, look across the board, identify genres that have been, if you want to say, underrepresented, and seek to make a movie that marries a certain race and a certain genre. Sure, there's nothing wrong with that. We haven't had very many Mexican spy movies. So we're going to make a spy movie where all the leads are Mexican, and Mexican culture plays an important part in the spying. Okay, cool. Fascinating. Sign me up. Write a good movie with that as your thesis, and I'm all for it. I don't give a shit that it's diversity, blah, blah, blah. It sounds like an interesting premise. If you want to spice in some fun Latino comedy with as your comic relief elements, and a rolling awesome action movie that has awesome machismo elements as well, that'll probably really punch up a lot of the action, I'm in. I'm down. That sounds fun. That sounds interesting. But don't give me Mexican James Bond. That's not necessary.
Well, you know what what is so sad to me about this is, like, representation is a beautiful thing when it's done authentically to the actual character, to the actual person's experience. So if you it's fine. Like, I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with, I don't think there's anything wrong with representation at all. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I think that that's used as a talking point now, where people say, oh, we don't want a black, James Bond. But hey, if he's just black James Bond, but everything else is the same, then I don't think that would be on authentic representation, because, like, race is so integral to people's experience, to their personal experience, how they grow up, their ancestry, what they see growing up, what they feel, how they perceive different things. Like, if he's just the same James Bond, but he just happens to be black, that's not really fair to the black
representation. Exactly. That's not representation, because it's not representing a black person's lifestyle or experiences and what that would be.
Right.
Exactly. And so it always kind of comes back to the same thing. And this is just another example where, if you want this stuff, see, there's nothing wrong with creating a superhero movie in a world where all the guys are bad rich white men, and all of your heroes are people of color who are standing up to that man and recontextualizing society through the lens of their experience, which probably comes from a very authentic experience from filmmakers, who are reflective of that experience, of that lifestyle. But it's not Batman. And so like, that's where I get on this thing. Like, insidious woke messaging is actually not even a problem for me if it's used to make a good movie, where I can still go, okay, the overall theme may not be for me, but the movie is good, and I don't have to be beaten over the head with the messaging. I can sort of leave it and go, that part wasn't for me, but I liked the movie overall. This is fine. And so the ways in which that they made this movie woke would not be a problem for me per se if it was just simply not on the backdrop of Batman. if it wasn't trying to recontextualize Bruce Wayne and Batman as being an emblem of the evil patriarchy, when he is so clearly and throughout all of comics not. And in fact, even within the Justice League is like oftentimes the one who would be the least emblematic of the toxic patriarchy,
Right.
you know, is pointedly the weird one, the outcast, the one who doesn't fit in the social hierarchy, who isn't the like alpha male asshole, you know, like, yes, there are a lot of iterations of Bruce Wayne have been the smarmy billionaire, but that has also been notably his smokescreen for who he really is underneath, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think like, again, I have watched plenty of movies whose overall message or point is something I don't agree with or like, but the movie is good. And I think that this movie almost gets there, but then dies by the fact that you're trying to recontextualize Batman. Someone, it's not just a movie, not just a guy, but almost 100 years, over 100 years now. I don't know when comic books start. Like a long ass time of history where you can't just tear up and erase that character simply because it feels good now, you know, to say that he can't be the hero because he's the white man.
Yeah. Wow. It's tricky territory because that is kind of like the narrative theme in general now, not just for like these movies, but it's getting harder and harder, I think it's also hard for filmmakers and writers to portray people that are perceived as having any modicum of privilege as not being like almost like immoral in some way.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
no, it's very true.
It's weird. It's like they have to tear them down a peg, even if that person has suffered, even if that person has trauma or negative experiences, or if they are burdened by something outside their control. It's like they're not. I imagine if you come with a screenplay to a production company and you have, you know, this kind of like a flawed natural character that happens to be white, they'd probably either say like, we have enough white representation, let's shift this over to this without changing anything to make it authentic to the experience of whatever race we're changing it to, which is just like ridiculous and racist to me. Like, okay,
almost more racist than not having it. Exactly.
Right.
If you care, because then all you're saying is that all your race is the color of your skin, is not acknowledging, which is the most racist way of looking at it, by saying that you are defined and identified purely by your skin color, which then is also where we lead to things like actors coming under fire for not being dark enough for the role they're playing, because
colorism. Yeah, exactly.
Because that's all this is. Andy McCallum says it. Thank you for the super chat. Propping up a race by tearing down another. Racist. Exactly. And you know, as part of you know, a group that's in a minority, I don't think you would, and in the minority groups that I'm a part of, I don't want that part of my identity to be propped up because another was torn down. I don't want to feel like, oh, I'm only better, you know, as a Jew because some Christians had to lose something or had to have something taken away from them. You know, no, I just want to be treated fairly and equally as a person of the Jewish faith, Jewish, you know, culture. I just want to be treated like everyone else. I'm not better or worse, you know, not crappy by the Christians because I'm not one of them, and crappy by everyone else because I'm too white. So, you know.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That's the really world what words. I don't words.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in.
What a trip that this is in the Batman movie. But like, you know, I'm not surprised. Nothing surprises me anymore.
Yeah.
It's been in our Star Wars movies. It's going to be in the Lord of the Rings stuff, I assume.
Oh God, don't even get me started on the Lord of the Rings. You and I will have to have like a freaking eulogy for that.
Oh my gosh. It's just sad. I just watched the trailer and I just felt nothing. I'm like, wow. How can I feel nothing for something that just made me
felt nothing. I felt the same, and it was the same. It was that nothing that hurt. And then I read the interview that they did with the showrunners for Variety. Like 10
Oh yeah, you were
things.
telling me about that. Oh my gosh, it's embarrassing.
It
Yeah,
hurt. Oh my God, it hurt my soul. It hurt my soul.
I know.
But I need to let you go because you
Yes,
you
I have
need
my
next
physical therapy. I'm going to be late. Tapia is going to be mad at me, but this was amazing. I feel like we could have talked about this for another 4 hours. And
forever. So we need to do this again soon.
yeah.
Do you want to come on? Can you do my Tuesday night one? It's 8 o'clock
Uh,
now.
I don't think so. No, next week I have the G&G thing, the poor choices thing.
Okay.
They're doing like a, I don't know, like a St. Patty's Day one, but I think
Oh,
next, maybe the following one. I'll let you know.
sure
What
thing.
time is it usually?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Yeah, I would love that. Oh, yeah, I miss these. I miss these with you. I also need to get my freaking neck in gear because
Yes.
it's so painful. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Well, go for your appointment. And I was, guys, Jedi
So,
Bunny, that's her channel. The link is in the description and hopefully
thanks,
been
Jesse.
posting. Wonderful to see you.
It's always good seeing you. I love talking with you. You're the best.
It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure. Well, I'll let you go. I'll do my little wrap up here. And
Okay,
then
sounds good. Bye, guys. Take good care of Jessie. She deserves it. You guys all deserve it. You've been an awesome chat. All very funny. Thank you for making me laugh. Thank you, Jessie, for making me laugh and think as always. And
well,
have a good night.
thank you for such great insight as
Thank
always.
you. And Mary sent me the photos of her puppies, and they're so freaking cute.
I know.
Oh my God, they're so cute. Okay, bye, guys. Bye, Jessie. Love you.
Mwah.
Trying to figure out how to leave. Okay, here I go. Bye.
There she goes. Woo! All right. So wonderful. Always wonderful to have Kelly here. We love it. So I'm actually just going to be popping over. What should we do? Maybe we'll just transition right here like this. Why don't we do that? I'm just going to go right from here over to 17 Live and you guys can follow me over there. So 17 Live. Here we go. Okay, so fun things happening, by the way. This Sunday on 17 Live, my friend was like, "Are you alive?" And I'm like, "Yes." How's it going? Great, but busy. I'm actually on a stream right now, transitioning to another stream, but I'll be off in a few hours. I'll be off in a few hours. Yay. And then I can have friends again. So yeah, Sunday, guys, Hot Fuzz on Comfy Bitches. I will be, that will be another scheduled stream in the 17 Live sphere. We're starting to work this in as like a regular weekly show. So that's exciting. Make sure you're over on our Discord. We'll be having our next Mindless Mob movie night the end of this month. We are at the 50th anniversary of The Godfather. That's like around now, so we are probably gonna maybe watch that at some point. In the chat, I do love that fucking movie. Yeah, Sunday's Hot Fuzz. So the way we play, guys, is it'll be a screen. You'll see me and Hadass. We'll be being bitches. And then we will have the movie running over on Discord at the same time, so you can pop in there, watch along. If you don't have it on at home, and then you can, chat along there with each other as well. Words. Okay. Anyway. Big streamer. Okay. Sorry. I'm not doing 12 things at once. Black Mad Max might be cool. All right, we should have okay. Just. We're thinking of having some people. That would actually be perfect. For St. Patty's. Because we had a little St. Patty's get together right before everything shut down for the virus. And now that everything's like finally opening back up after the virus 2 years later, we should have St. Patty's again. Anyway, movie quiz this month. Yes. So I'm to this month for Mindless Mob Movie Night, we are going to have a movie quiz as well as a part of it. So brush my trivia. There'll be prizes. I don't know what they are, but they'll be exciting. So make sure you are hanging out over there on the Discord. It's super fun. We should do Free Willy at some point. That would be a great movie for either our watch along or for Comfy Bitches. So always send me movie suggestions, guys, because we are doing Comfy Bitches once a week. That's me and Hadass watching movies and bitching about it. We are doing and then we are doing Mindless Mob movie watches as a crew over on Discord once a month. That's the important stuff. Make sure you're subscribed, following me everywhere. I'm doing like little YouTube shorts because I think they're funny. Let me know if you think they are. Right, dual streaming. That's what I'm doing. Like, why am I still here? Why haven't I ended this? Because I'm starting up a new stream over here on the 20th. Though. Okay, I got a full week off this week. Nice. How long you in S? I should probably stop talking to my friend. / I should probably stop talking. I should probably table this till later and go back to streaming. Yeah, I'm like figuring them out, and I'm like, oh, I think I don't suck at these. Let's find out. Let's find out how you guys liked the one I made today. I don't know. Did anyone say it? Did anyone say it? Did anyone say it? I don't know. Forget them. You guys have met. Some of you have met Justin before. He says, forget them. They're mindless. He's not wrong. Oh, my Discord is the Mindless Mob Discord. I think I keep a forever link on the link tree, which is funny because everyone's like, I sent Mad Mardigan one that expired, trying to be like all cool, being like, this one's gonna expire in 24 hours, so here's your link. And he was like, oh, I waited and it expired. And I'm like, fucking here's one that lasts for fucking ever. It's not that exclusive. Oh shit, people really like my shorts. This has been the case. Every time I put a new short down, it gets more views. It gets as many views as the last one like currently has in like less time, and then goes up. Y'all really liked this one. This is a.
I don't understand. Is it
Trimp?
me that it's trying to blow up divorce culture, or
Everyone just loves the Trimp. Obviously, the Trimp is the best. Can I get some Trimp? I don't know. Apparently, I'm good at shorts. I didn't realize that I would be. I feel like I'm just like tickled that I'm good at these things. No, I've seen trailers Borg Porg for the Joe versus Carol show. Okay, so what am I doing here? I'm going to start streaming on 17 Live now because that's the next place that we're streaming. And then I'm going to tell you guys all to go over there and do that. And you'll find me. All right. How do I do this? Okay. I think I'm just going to drop the link here. And then give me like 5 minutes to go kiss my boyfriend and just like move this thing. I'm kind of famous now. Someone, oh, good. It's getting around. That's what I refer to you as. I'm like, this is Andy. He's the right-hand man of the Mindless Mob. I'm glad it's getting around now. Cool. All right. People know. So then you know what that means though, Andy? You know what that means? If people know that about you, if you carry that association, you carry the name of the mob with you now, wherever you go. That means you represent us no matter what you are doing out there. You carry the name of the mob. I expect you do good, and I expect you sign up 12 more people for cryptocurrency by the end of the day, okay? Otherwise, you're fired. Anyways, all right, so cool. I'm leaving this stream. I'm going to 17 Live. I will be live within the next 5 minutes, but like more like 1 or 2. So we're just like gonna go kiss Jeff and then be like, I'm gonna do my other stream now. Bye. So we're gonna be live over there. Send me all your money. Do it. Bye.